Welcome to the Business Finishing School Podcast. Stop the insanity, eliminate the chaos, bring simplicity, probability, and leverage as operating values into your business and personal life so you can do more, earn more, and improve your relationships. This is Business Growth Simplified. Here's your host, Business Finishing School founder, Rick Sapio.
All right, welcome everybody. This is Rick Sapio, and I am excited to introduce you to Dr. Kalani Jose, who is in his office in California. Is that where you are right now?
Yes, I'm in California, Oxnard, California, to be exact.
I love it. He is one of the most positive human beings I've ever met. Everything's great all the time, and he infuses positivity. And he's been a long-term member of Business Finishing School. He comes to all the events, and he's also referred a lot of people. But I want to talk today about you actually becoming a coach. Even though you've got this full life, you said, I want to help people implement BFS in their lives. So you become a coach, and now you're implementing with other companies the war room strategy, which, you called me about some coaching on how to implement the war room. By the way, for those listening, if you have not done the BFS war room exercise in your business, you're missing out huge. I always say when I charge people for that if you didn't get $100,000 worth of value, you could rip up the check that we charged. And I've never had anybody rip the check up to date. All right, Dr. Kalani, I want to ask you first, how long have you been a member of BFS?
Been a member for 5 years now.
That's it. It does seem longer, doesn't it, Morgan? Yeah, it seems longer. What module has had the biggest impact on you?
Well, the module modules 1, 2, and 3 has had the best and largest and biggest impact on me. When I first started practice, I never practiced out of values. I practiced out of what made money. And so having module number 1 with value-based decision making, that literally had me reassess my life and see what was important, because many times I would say what was important, but it was just words coming out of my mouth. It really didn't come from my heart. And so looking at my values, both professionally and personally, made the biggest difference. Then module 2 talked about your doorman principle. I just had everybody walking through my door. I mean, I never even had a doorman. I had no idea or an inkling that I could have a doorman. And so once that was presented into my life, that made a huge difference. And finally, module number 3, using rhythms to amplify time and success. I had rhythms because I was in the military for 6 years, but I never really established business rhythms. And so with my business, it was just chaotic. It was everyday chaotic. And I'm a chiropractor. And for those that are chiropractors listening, I mean, it was basically week to week to week to week. And it was just overwhelming. After 15 years of that, I needed to change. And Business Finishing School came in a perfect time. So modules 1, 2, and 3. And I got to say, I went through 1, 2, and 3 maybe over about a dozen times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. What has been the biggest impact, or more than one, impacts on your life from 5 years ago till today? Like, how's your life different?
I wish I would have known this information, especially with value-based decision-making when my children were young. I was one of those professionals where I had my priorities straight. However, when I was functioning, it didn't seem like I had my priorities straight. My business always took precedence over my children and my family. And, over the years, I lost that. And that's my greatest joy with being part of Business Finishing School, is that I realize today I get to still instill those values into my children. My youngest is 18. I have 7 children. And out of my 7, I've been enculturated 4 of them already through the Business Finishing School system. And my relationship with them has made the biggest difference in the last 5 years. So for me, that is worth more than any money in the world, is my relationship with my children.
It's funny that you say that, because many people have told us we should call it family finishing school, because the impact on your family is as great as your business. So thank you for highlighting that. All right. When you think about, well, let me just ask the question outright. How many business growth summits have you been to?
I've been to 10 now. We're working on my 11th, which is really exciting.
And what's the impact of the summits on you or the people you bring?
Well, the impact on my summit, of the summit initially with the people that I bring is that I bring people kind of like Dustin, everyone that I'm going to do business with. Because if everyone I'm doing business with understands my value, understands the purpose and what I'm looking to achieve, then we're all on the same page and we get along. And Rick said, successful people or self-proclaimed successful people, if you follow them around, let's really see what they're doing throughout their day and see if they're living their values. Now that I'm living my values, it's really neat to see my community at the summits and have them see me living my values. So that's made the biggest difference. And that's what I enjoy about the summit. In addition to that, it keeps growing. I mean, not only the speakers, but I mean, the leadership with Morgan, Angela, and Cami, the way that they've created the networking following the summit in the evenings, that has been fun. But more importantly than fun, you get to actually share the business principles. That's 48 modules that you're able to share with others and get some feedback and build relationships. And so I'm not only building my community locally, but I'm building my community nationally.
Awesome. I love it. What is something, before we get into the specific details, what is something else maybe you forgot or you're just thinking about it now since I sent you a list of questions or Morgan did, what's something that you would really like people to know about BFS?
Before I was a yes man. I mean, I'm an optimist and I like to see the lighter side of everything. It's my choice, my life. And so I had a difficult time saying no. Back in 2016, I went on a no diet. I mean, it was difficult. I struggled with it the first quarter of the year. I mean, I felt guilty, I guess you can say, for lack of a better word, while we're on the podcast, that I kept saying yes, even if I was on a no diet. So it was like eating sugar when I shouldn't be eating sugar. But around when April came around, I got more comfortable with saying no. And by the time December 31st, 2016 rolled around, I was in the mode of saying no. And the beautiful thing about saying no was I was able to say yes to all the things that was important to me. And my life's changed because of that.
Let me ask you a question that people are probably thinking. What are one or two or three things that you said no to that you didn't think you could say no to, but once you did, it changed your life?
Well, one of the big things is loaning money to people. I mean,
Mm.
I have a lot of people that owed me money before. I had a lot of people that owed me money. And at a certain point, I just kind of resigned and at the point that, it was a gift because I'm not getting it back and nor am I going to bring family to court. I mean, it was just a gift. I needed to learn that lesson. And so the first one was loaning money. Second was overextending myself. I mean, I would say yes to all different types of responsibilities in the community. And I was never home because I was saying yes to everybody. And the third one is that, vendors would come into my office and they had an amazing sales pitch. And so it had to be true and it had to be real. And so I kept saying yes. By saying no to things like that, I mean, it just made the biggest difference in my life. Now, because of business finishing school, it's not easy to get a hold of me because my schedule is so full that my gatekeepers help me say no. And so just the structure overall of being involved in the last 5 years has made the biggest difference.
Awesome. So we're going to put you on stage again for the second time, and you were awesome last time on stage, and I'm excited. I want everybody to know that if you want to hear an incredible speaker that will move you and have you change on Monday morning, we like to present things at the events that have people change Monday morning, because most events you go to and there's just a lot of noise and maybe they're selling a lot of things, but you don't really change. We're all about you having the best life possible. So Dr. Kalani will be speaking at the event. It's March 6th to 8th at the Marriott Quorum in Dallas, Texas. It's a convention hotel, so everybody flies in from out of town. The website is bfssummit.com, B like boy, F like Frank, S like Sunday, summit.com. And because you're listening, Morgan has created a promo code SAVE200, all in caps, SAVE 200, to get $200 off the both the general admission or the VIP. And VIP Ivan Meisner, who built this company from one person to 270,000 members. He built this company called BNI to that amount. Him and I are taking the VIPs to dinner on Friday nights. That's Friday, March 6th. So that was a nice plug, but I said all that to say, I'm excited about what you're teaching at the event. So can you give us a little plug on what that's going to be like and what people what they'll take away from your presentation?
Absolutely. So one of the modules in BFS, module 13 to be exact, is entitled The War Room. Patrick Gentempo said that alone was worth $50,000, if not more. And so it's the price of your admission. One of the things that I've always been a teacher. As a matter of fact, I taught grad school at Cleveland Chiropractic College, Los Angeles. And being able to be on the stage and to be able to teach is one of the things that I have a passion for. The way I used to look at education is that if it was a difficult subject, I would literally, following the course, I would tutor it. And because I would tutor it, I would understand and I would learn and I would own that information. And so with business finishing school, one of the privileges that I get by being up on stage is I get to teach that information. And it's a win-win, because as I'm teaching it, I'm mastering that information or the principles of business finishing school. It's just not knowledge or textbook information. It's literally principles that will play out within your life. And so with the War Room module, that has made one of the biggest differences with being part of business finishing school. The conversations that I've had with people is that, I love module number 2 about management by objectives. But the biggest challenge is creating those objectives. Because how do you know if it's a smart objective that it's going to make a difference for the entire year because you're creating annual objectives? Or how do you know it's going to make a difference for the quarter because it's a quarter? It's 3 months in a business. That, I don't know what your revenue in your business is, but that could be hundreds of thousands, that could be millions of dollars. And so with the War Room helps isolate what's really important right now with the people most involved with your business, because you'll have your employees in there, you have people that have insight to your business, your vendors, and the way that it's set up and so structured that the energy continuously flows. And it's 6 hours now for a typical War Room that Rick talks about. And if you think about it from a leader's point of view, going, wow, 6 hours, I'm going to be sitting in a room with 5 other individuals picking my business apart. Well, the only way that works is that there's a strategy behind it. That strategy is where the just like BNI, one thing I love about BNI is that BNI has a specific system to it. And that's why everything flows the way it's supposed to. Well, similarly to the War Room, everything flows from sacred cows. Now, if you're listening right now, you're probably an entrepreneur. There's sacred cows in your business, regardless if you think about it or not. It can be people, it can be procedures, it can be projects, it can be a lot of things that the owner themselves think that is important. But if you step back and you look at the picture from the outside in, it's really not that important. Why is it not important? Because everyone's not on the same page, or it's not creating revenue. It's just not right for the business. So the first thing with the War Room is to eliminate those sacred cows. First, bring it up. Then second, work on it. Then third, eliminate it. Then the next step of that is the SWOT analysis. What are your strengths in your businesses? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And what are the threats? Then you go over an entire assessment of all the different assets that the company has. Then following that, you go over this 2x2 matrix. 2x2 matrix is a way of measuring what's important now and what's important next. And how do you get there? And so many times you'll have 10 items on a sheet of paper, and you'll look at it and you won't know how to prioritize it. Well, the 2x2 matrix will help you prioritize it. And finally, if you attend the summit, you're going to be with me while I'm up on stage, and we'll put what you have that you just created with the sacred cows, the SWOT analysis, the assets that you have, the 2x2 matrix, and we'll help you at least initiate some SMART objectives and takeaway that when you go back on Monday, that second quarter of the year, perhaps maybe even the rest of the year, is going to make the biggest difference in impact. It's going to probably make you money, and if anything, it's going to reduce your stress level in life.
Here's what's interesting about what you're talking about. I remember years ago, Herb Kelleher, who founded Southwest Airlines, said, by the way, this was after Southwest was the best performing stock over a 30-year period. It beat everyone. It beat General Motors. It beat Microsoft, you name it. From a 30-year period, I think it was from 1973 to 2003. He said, growing a business is actually really simple, but we complicate the hell out of it. And the things you're talking about are very, very simple, but nobody does it. So I'm urging you to come here, Kalani, talk about some very simple things that will change your life. All right, we're coming up on the 20-minute mark. Are there any final words that you would like to say about BFS, about Morgan, about yourself, anything?
You know, one of the things that really that I enjoy about BFS is that the leadership practice what they preach. And if we talk about values now, it's so important that you're amongst others that are literally living what they talk about. And so for me, that's important. And I just wanted to share that the longer you wait to get on board, you're missing the trip of a lifetime. So join us and simplify your life.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed having you. I've enjoyed knowing you, and you help me be positive because you're always positive. I love it. All right.
Hey, mahalo.
Mahalo.
Welcome to the Business Finishing School podcast. Stop the insanity, eliminate the chaos, bring simplicity, probability, and leverage as operating values into your business and personal life so you can do more, earn more, and improve your relationships. This is Business Growth Simplified. Here's your host, Business Finishing School founder, Rick Sapio.